Hey, it's Monday. Hey, howdy everybody. We got something in from Vevor. Monday, new tool day. Yeah, this is the MiG 200. And the very first thing I noticed was the box is really heavy, and that's very unusual. Most of Vevor's machines in the past have been very light. So I'm really kind of excited to see what the features are with this one, because they're usually, they don't weigh any more than a lunchbox, if you know what I mean. And this thing is so heavy, it's like, well, this must have some beefy features to it. It's a 200 amp, up to 200 amp, but it's a MiG machine, but it also offers stick. I've already noticed that that's in there. So we're gonna get this out of the box, lay it on the bench here, and see what all comes with this machine. And hopefully, I think it's gonna be a really awesome machine. Let's find out. I can't get over the weight, but it's a heavy machine. Now there's a couple of things here. This is like a 4-in-1 machine, which it's becoming so common, I guess, these days that even Vevor did not say specifically, oh, it's a 4-in-1 machine. It was just like, nah, it's a 4-in-1 machine. It does MiG gas, it does MiG flux core, it does stick welding, and it can also, you can get the accessories for it, and it can run TIG. So it's really a 4-in-1 machine, but they didn't even mention it. That's really odd. But it's becoming so common. It seems like every machine I see these days coming in here has been that. But this is the heaviest welding machine from Vevor I've seen. Now, the very next question, and here's all the goodies that come out of the box. We've got airline for the gas. I've got a spool of something. I don't know whether this is gas or flux core, so I've got a problem there. I'm not sure. I may have to steal one off of one of my other machines when we go to play with the welder. Thank God I always have some stick around, because there's a stick accessory right there. One of the things I'm seeing a lot of, and this is becoming, I guess, maybe common a little bit, but it's got this really nice heavy MiG handle with a heavy switch and everything on it, and it's a fairly decent length. Also, this is 110 and or 220. That's another thing in the industry that has really surprised me over the years, that they've sort of gone that way, because I like 220. I just do. It's it's the best way to run a welding machine, is a 220. But also it comes, of course, with the usual ground. These are so common now, you see them, but these are nice ground clamps. I really do like them. We don't have to replace the ground clamp with something fancier or something in the future. And it also has an adapter so you can jump it to the 220, which again, I like 220. And of course we've got a set of different drive wheels for the MiG wire, so that we've got all the different sizes. Now these are going to be in metric, but I've noticed in the past, and I'm looking here to see if it's on here or not, I can't see it really well, but a lot of times they're marked millimeters, and they're also marked, 0.030 or 0.035, whatever, that we use over here for standards. Now, the other thing too, I'm going to mention this because this is odd. Again, not something I've ever seen before. The manual here, it's a real nice manual. It's really not very thick at all, but it has all the information about, welding and using the machine, but it's all in English. There is no other language in this with this machine. I find that to be very odd. Now I'm going to unlock this because I want to see this immediately. And yeah, I'm going to say 2 pound. I don't think you can get a 10-pound spool in here. I'm going to measure and check it, but I suspect, and there's the switch here, back here for the gas. Okay, I'll just turn it and you can see the size of this thing. Looks like, there's a 2-pound spool right there, and you can see. I don't think a 10-pounder, I don't believe a 10-pounder whatever would fit in there. That's probably the only thing so far that I can say is kind of it doesn't really bother me. 2 pounds will last me a long time, but there are those people out there that will say they like to get they like to use those 10-pound spools. Well, yeah, but for flux core and switching out back and forth and stuff, the 2-pounder, that's plenty of, that is a lot of wire right there to run on a machine anyways. Now the duty cycle is really weird, so I'll tell you what it is, but it doesn't make any sense to me, and it may not make any sense to you either, because I saw this 20%, 60%, 100%, depending on the settings and what you're using. And I don't know where 100% comes. I've never seen a machine with 100% duty cycle. Like, nah, not familiar with that. So I'm not sure where those numbers are coming from. The simplicity of it is that I'll just close this up, is that you can switch back and forth. And this is one of the things they do, and it sometimes confuses newbies, I guess. But this allows you to make the plate. See, if you're using like flux core, for example, you know, you're going to want reverse polarity to the welding table than what you would use, say, for a stick. So this allows you to switch back and forth from the stick to the MIG machine, but also allows you to alter the polarity of the table that you're going to be using. So very important little item there. The welding table on the flux core, for example, is recommended to be positive on the welding table. And of course, if you're using the stinger or stick, you'll be looking at wanting to have a negative charge on the table. Now, one of the things you can't screw up, of course, is the polarity, because the MIG is directly hooked right here, all of the MIG stuff. So from the cable from the MIG, it's going to be negatively charged, and that's that. So if by mistake you have a negatively charged table or something, of course the MIG's not going to, you know, nothing's going to happen. But this allows you to switch back and forth, which is cool. Well, let's get to the goody part here. I'm going to turn the power on just the 110 side, and that way we can have a look at the screen. We can take a look at the features and the way this works. So we've powered it up, we've turned it on, and here she goes. Oh yeah. Ooh, wow, that's a loud fan. We're on MIG right now. They're calling that manual mode. And then we've got FE, which I don't know whether that's feed. Let's have a look here and see what we got. Okay, that might be current right there. Wow. Okay. Also got 2T. Oh, A. Is that current? That might be. Yeah, that looks like current for sure. So I'll bring it down to about, I guess we'll probably run about 70. Okay. And this is MIG manual. There's MIG sync, and then there's MIG, or no, that's the stick welding there. So okay, and then there's the TIG. So we'll come back to MIG manual and then MIG sync. This is going to be your flux core setting, and we've got the MIG 200 material wise. Okay, iron, S, flux, and AI. AI. Yeah, AI. Aluminum. Yes, aluminum. You heard that right. Now, I'm going to look at this way this is set up. This is the voltage over here. This must be the current over here. I haven't checked the manual, but as I adjust current coming up to like 60 or 67, 70, whatever, you can see the voltage is jumping up too. I'll have to shut this off and hook the cables up, and we'll get ready to do some welding. But I just wanted to show you how the fancy display, very fancy, very nice. Also, we've got trigger mode, so we can set it so that it keeps feeding or it doesn't keep feeding, kind of thing. It's pretty neat, you know. And then you've got up and down damper. This is part of that TIG system. I also have something right here. I'm not even sure what this is right here. Let's push it and just see what happens. Okay, that just job. Oh, okay. So you've got jobs where you can set pre-tuned jobs into it, and wow, pretty full-featured little job. Now, I've got to hook the MIG up, and then we'll hook up the ground, and I'll get get a piece of steel in here, and we'll bang around with it. I really like to have this on 220 as opposed to 110 because the 110 just is always weaker. It's just weaker. But now we shut down. Let's see if it. Yep. Okay. Yeah, and it keeps going, and the fans and everything will keep running until it feels that everything is where the temperature should be, and then bang. Then she shuts off. Cool. Okay. Right before we hook up and set up everything to run, I guess we better find out the big reveal here, because I don't know what I've got. It's a 1mm wire. I do know that, but after that I don't know what we have, so I hope this is flux core. And it is, yeah, I can't tell. Let's see. There it is right there. And it looks to be flux core. It does have a GS here, which I'm assuming is meaning gas, or stands for gas. This is a 1mm wire. And it looks like Flux core. Boy, they really take this stuff in really well too. They didn't want it coming apart on me in shipping or something, I guess. But these are kind of like unloading a kind of a bomb. Yep, there you go. Nice shiny Flux core. Yeah, good. So we can go ahead and do Flux core right away. So that's good. I was worried I was going to have to steal something off one of my other machines. One of the things that a lot of people ask about is how to load for the very first time, even MIG machine. So the very first thing we did was I took this off the cap and took the tip off, because I'm going to bring the wire through first and then put the tip back on. It'd probably make more sense to you once you see how it's done. Hopefully my hands aren't going to be in the way too much. Now, this was like this. So I unlock this. This is the bearing that's riding. Now, I've also taken this apart and checked this wheel back here. It's the 1.0 wheel. It's the 1.0 Flux core we have here, so we're good. And the other thing you want to check is to see how this is going to come off. And you want to come off the bottom here to feed through here. Now this is like this is like undoing a bomb. Yeah. So you want to keep the tension on this constantly. You need 3 hands, you only have 2. Yeah. So we're going to try to get this wire out of here without having a mess on my hands here. So, and they've made it difficult with this particular spool because they've locked it to one side. So I'm going to cut it, and I'm using my fingers to help keep tension on the spool. Let me get the rest of that out of the way. There we go. Now, when you load it up, I've still got tension on there. And if I have to back up, I back the whole spool up, because you want to keep the tension on the spool. That's the whole secret to success with these things. Now, this is not a very pretty end on here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that, but I'm going to cut it over here while I keep the tension. And I've got my hands around it and everything, try to hold it in position. So I'm going to cut the wire again. Let's see if we've got a good end on that now. That looks pretty decent. And I'm going to feed this up through to where we start at this end. And again, I want to keep the tension on there. And we're hitting something right there. That's no good. Yeah. So one of the tricks you can do is to cut this on a bit of an angle, so it'll kind of, you know, feed itself through kind of thing. So I'm going to try to take another cut. Let's see if we can't get it this time. This is the trickiest part of loading a MIG machine. And in fact, I'm even going to straighten the wire up just a little bit. And again, I'm rocking my hand back and forth to keep tension on the spool, because that's the big secret to these things. You do not want that spool to explode on you. There, she's going up through nicely now. So now I'm going to lock back down, check the tension on this, just screw it up a little bit, just so there's tension on there. Now the other thing you got to watch is this, because this here is a brake. It's a drag kind of thing with a spring, and you want to make sure that you keep the spring pressure on this nice and tight. There we go. Ideally, yeah, there we go. Yeah. Hopefully it's going to drag. Now let's see if she's got drag pressure. Yeah, she does. She's got some drag. So now I'm going to feed this all the way through, which means I'm going to power it up so I can feed. So I'm going to turn the machine on, and what I'm going to do is power the wire through the cable, and try not to get too get the cable fairly relaxed, so it makes it easier for the wire to go through. Now, I don't know if we're on MIG right now. Probably not. No. Okay. Yep. Flux 1.0. There we go. Kind of like that to drag real nice as it goes through. That's looking good. There it is. There's the wire. Okay, so let me shut her off for a minute. So now I'm going to take the tip and bring it down through the wire and screw the tip back in. They supply a wrench, so I'll tighten that up. Like, hopefully I'm not too much in the way here, so you guys can see a little bit about what's going on. And we'll just snug it up just a little bit. Nothing stupid, you know, just a little bit of tension on there. I'm going to actually cut this back because you don't need anywhere near that kind of wire to start with a MIG weld anyways. And then to put the, we'll call it the shield back on, it's, you turn it the same way you did when you put it on. So you're going to sort of turn it like that. And it's kind of, this one's a harder one to use for some reason, but yeah, there we go. And that's just kind of screws on kind of loose like that. It doesn't really go very far. But there it is. The shield is just, you know, past the tip kind of thing. And now we're ready. So now I can close this up because we're all done in there for the moment. And go get a piece of steel. Oh, I got to hook the ground up yet too. I picked a really nasty piece of metal. Yeah, this has got rust and paint and everything on it, so it'll be harder. So I'm trying to get a reasonable ground right here. And well, I better switch the welder back on. We're going to do the 110. If it'll weld with 110, I guess it'll do anything. So we'll get that started up. And meantime, I'll get my helmet on and some gloves, and we'll go to town. I don't really know. Could be. Okay. Let's try it now. Oh yeah. Yeah, we got something going on now. Whoa. That's a little too hot. But that's a good thing. Wow. Nice. Sheesh. It's auto speed as far as the feed goes. It figures out how much speed you do or do not need to work with, which is good. You know, the old buttons thing where you used to select the speed, it seemed like it really screwed out a lot of people up over time. So it's kind of nice that it just figures out how much speed you need and just feed that much wire to you. That is cool. That was actually too hot. Wow, that's 70. Let's see if we can bring her down. I'm going to try 55 and just see if we can weld at 55 amps. That's pretty low, but hey, you know, let's find out. I'm going to put it right beside the other bead or something. Yeah, much, well, I blew through. I spent a little too much time hanging around for a minute, but man, that's still hot. Wow. And that's 55. That's pretty low current level wise, but man, she's doing a nice job. Also, really nice steady weld, so I like that. I'm gonna shut this off so you can hear me. But the weld is really steady. I'm gonna get a piece of iron, heavy iron out here, and we'll go to the stick weld. Now I did forget to plug this in, this little piece I showed you earlier. For some reason I forgot. That's got to be hooked in because this is going to, you know, this is going to decide that this is negative on the MIG and positive on the ground, or the positive on the on the ground side. So, you know, when you hook everything up, you gotta get these two, and that's the reason that's there like that, is so that you can figure out what polarity you're going to be working with for the plate or the ground, and what polarity is for the stinger or the MIG or whatever it is you're doing. But that's a cool feature. I like that. It's kind of cool because you can set it up the way you want it. But let's get the stick set up and let's see how the stick does. I'm back. Okay. Again, I'm going to have some grounding trouble here because this is a nasty, oily, dirty old piece of metal I got here. Probably should have polished this up a little bit first, but we'll see if we can get through this. I've changed everything, so I've taken the MIG off, which was connected up through here. So this is disconnected because technically this is now part of the connection over here for the MIG cable. So we're not using the MIG, we're using the stinger. So the stinger is now on the positive connection here, and the ground is now on the negative, because it's a negative ground, positive stinger for this particular setup, and this will be for the stick welding. So let's get us cranked up. I don't know what current level to use. Usually I run about 60 with this particular stick, but this particular machine seems to be running hotter than what I expected to run. So let's turn the stick on. When we're ready. Let's see. Okay, so there's our stick, and we're at 100 amps. I don't think we need that. No. Let's go. Let's just pick. I'm gonna go 60, but I could be over the top here with 60, because that MIG pressure really shocked me. Let's have a look. Wow, okay, yeah. 60 was about, well, that's what I've got on the machine. That's just about what I usually like to have on that stick on most machines, like the Millers and all the other machines. So that, I'll shut that off. That is a nice long bead and very steady, no pulsing. The only time anything went off track a little bit was my fault, because I was adjusting my hand around a little bit. Oh, somebody complained one time when I was welding that I didn't have any welding gloves with me. So yeah, here's the welding gloves. They're right here. Okay, so we're all set. Alrighty. Okay, boom, we're back over here now to talk about all this. One thing I did notice when I was reviewing some of the video, this was, you guys probably caught it. This was jumping up and down a little bit because it has like an auto sync. So if it thinks it needs a little more current, it'll push it. If it thinks you need a little more voltage, it'll push it. And that's partly why I was getting so hot with the MIG. If I had put it on manual mode, you know, I could have locked the MIG down so it didn't do that. But the other thing it does have with the MIG, which I really love, is the auto feed feature. I've talked about it before with other machines and also with this one. It gives you the speed of the feed that it thinks you need. And I'll tell you, these machines are smart that way. They do a very good job. I have never had to worry about, you know, oh, it's not feeding the wire fast enough or too slow or something. It seems like they seem to be, you know, right on with that technology. So that is a good thing. Description, of course, there'll be a link in the description below where you can find this puppy. And I highly recommend to take a look at that price. This is a 200 amp, you know, MIG, TIG, stick machine. Two kinds of MIG, you know, flux core and or gas, you know. So you can do both. It's just awesome. Now, one of the other things that I try to level with you on it is whether, you know, what grade the machine is. I'm going to grade this up. Vevor in the past, I sort of thought was a kind of a consumer brand machine, and they put out a lot of different welders over the years, but they've also been improving their products. This is obviously an improvement. This is a MIG 200, and it is every part an awesome machine. I'm going to say prosumer, yeah, prosumer level, because it looks to me like it can really do the job. Plus, like I said, I was looking at the duty cycles, and it appears that you could have this in a professional shop even. If you had to use it daily, weekly, whatever, I think you'd probably get quite a bit of performance out of this one. So, awesome machine. Now, the negatives on it, some of these cables are a little short. This is a little bit I guess lower quality than I like, but it's still not Harbor Freight. It's still better than Harbor Freight, but it's not very good. It is very basic, you know, kind of stick welder clamp here. That's I've seen better, I've seen worse. So you know, but the lengths of the cables are a bit short, and I think the reason for that is, let's face it, the cost of copper and everything else has been just going up the last few years, and I have a feeling that the manufacturers in return are saying, okay, we'll have to cut back a little bit here, whatever. The actual cable, power cable, this is the second longest power cable for a MIG that I've had in here. It's about 8 feet long, so it's like, you know, that's pretty good. You know, that's, I've had longer, like 12 foot and all that, which is really nice to have, but the 8 feet is, that's good. You know, I'm good with it. Also, of course, if you add the extra 2 feet for the conversion to the 220, that would probably get you, well, get you pretty close to almost a 10-foot reach from the machine, so that wouldn't be too bad. Length on the MIG cable is really good. The only place, other place that I feel a little shorted on, I'll just take this off and bring it around, but you can see it. There's your ground cable. You know, you don't have a lot to work with, so the machine's going to have to be pretty close to the job at hand. And again, you know, whether you're a small shop, a hobbyist, or, you know, in that line of anywhere from consumer to prosumer, you know, I think that's fine. You know, it's going to do the trick. The auto sync and stuff like that on there is it's really cool, because if you're not real good with welding, the machine may help you to make up, you know, any differences and shortages on whether you're, you know, getting a good weld or not. This would probably help to sort of patch that up a little bit, so that's a good thing too. Hey, we're going to be shutting down, like I said, in the near future. I don't want to scare anybody or whatever, but we will be closed down for, and it could be, I'm going to take a guess, it might be a couple months. I really don't know at this point. We're really not sure, and we don't know when. This could happen within the next month or so. I would sort of like to, you know, the sooner the better, because I need to get figured out as to how we're going to box all this stuff up and get it out of here. You know, wow, yeah. Meantime, thanks for watching Coffee Tools. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the notice bell, and we'll be back with more tools in the future. Meantime, thanks for watching. Over and out.